This video is snipped from a webinar hosted by the family of Pastor Raymond Koh on the 7th of February 2021 to mark the 4th anniversary of his enforced disappearance on 13th February 2017. The speaker is Dato Jerald Gomez, a senior lawyer in Malaysia. He represented the Koh family at the inquiry into Koh's disappearance conducted by Suhakam, the Human Rights Commission of Malaysia. He represents the family in the ongoing civil suit.
I've prepared a PowerPoint that I hope will make those points. I've been given about 5 to 10 minutes to share with you about the findings of Suhakam and the case filed by Susanna. Because a picture paints 1,000 words, so I'll use some pictures to make that point. I'll confine myself to 7 points. I start with what Suhakam is. Suhakam is just short form for Suruhanjaya Hak Asasi Manusia, which means Human Rights Commission of Malaysia. The first and important point to note is that Suhakam is not an NGO. It is a body set up by Parliament through an Act of Parliament, which states its functions, powers, and jurisdiction. Similar to the Police Act or the Security Commissions Act, it is an institution established by the government. The commissioners are appointed by the King, the Yang di-Pertuan Agong, based on advice of the Prime Minister. The second point to note is that one of the main functions of Suhakam is found in section 12, subsection 1, which is, as you can see on the PowerPoint, to inquire into allegations of infringement of human rights of such persons or group of persons. And that is what Suhakam did. The third point is that the Commission of Inquiry had clear terms of reference. They did not go on a frolic of their own. I will just highlight 2. 16, under paragraph 16A, it says very clearly, their terms of reference was to determine whether these are cases of enforced disappearance. And if you look at para B, Roman 2, it says, to identify persons or agencies responsible for such alleged breach or breaches. My fourth point is, which I believe is equally important, is that the commissioners selected were very respected and credible people who had a good track record with the government and the public. We have Dato Ma Weng Kwai, who was a previous High Court judge and a Court of Appeal judge, a past president of the Bar Council of Malaysia and the past president of the Commonwealth Lawyers Association. We had Professor Dr. Aisha Bedin. She's a professor of law and was Dean of the University Kebangsaan Law Faculty. We also had Dr. Nick Saleda Suhaila, who's an expert on Sharia law and Islamic law. Not only is she a senior lecturer in the Faculty of Sharia and Law at the Islamic Science University of Malaysia, she has also written books and edited books on Sharia and the law. It is important to note that these are not ordinary people, but specialists in their own respective fields, apart from being highly respected and credible, both to the government and to the public. Now, in both Raymond Koh and Amri Chemat's case, they were heard at about the same time, sometimes one after the other, because the witnesses could come at different times. For Raymond Koh's case, it took about 20 days. Amri's case took about 27 days of hearing. The commissioners heard evidence of 40 witnesses altogether. By looking at some of the snippets there, you can appreciate the tension and pressure throughout the whole inquiry, but also the thoroughness of the commissioners. It was regularly reported by our press. Now, counsels for the family There were officers from PDRM acting for the police, officers from Suhakam, representatives from the Bar Council, all took part in the inquiry and also submitted before the panel before a final decision was made in March 2019. Just to give you a glimpse of how the premises of the inquiry looked like, how it took place. You know, somehow Professor Gurdial, Stephen Thiru, and myself managed to share that small table. My fifth point is the conclusion and finding of the commissioners after hearing all the evidence and looking at all the evidence is very pertinent and important, because you have a credible government institution after going through all the evidence making such a finding. It's nothing like seeing it for yourself. This is what they wrote. After having held a lengthy deliberation, the unanimous view that Pastor Koh is the victim of enforced disappearance as defined under Article 2 of the ICPED, which is the International Convention of the Protection of All Persons from Enforced Disappearance, that took place on February 13 at about 10:45. And 36, I highlight, the direct circumstantial evidence in Pastor Raymond Koh's case proves on a balance of probabilities that he was abducted by state agents, namely the Special Branch, Bukit Aman, Kuala Lumpur. That is the finding of these three independent commissioners. Now, with such a finding, the family was elated. They were so happy, you know, that finally a body has come out to say what happened. So they made a trip to see the then Home Minister, who is now our Prime Minister, Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin. It was a fruitful trip. Tan Sri told us in clear terms, I will get to the bottom of this. You know, it was arranged by Teresa Koch, and this is the team that went along. But after several months, we did not hear from the Home Minister. The family waited and waited, and they did not know what they could do next. And the period to bring a suit against the government or any government officer is 3 years. And time was running out. If you do not bring the suit within 3 years, it is time barred. You cannot bring the suit. So we waited till the very last moment for the government to respond, or for the Home Ministry to say, well, this is the position. But nothing was done, and we had no choice. And the family gave instructions to file the suit. So we filed the suit. This is the suit, and these are the parties who are named in the suit. It was filed and served on the Attorney General. I cannot speak in great detail with regards to the suit. Neither can I speak about the evidence that's going to be adduced. It could be considered sub judice and maybe even contemptuous. But what I can tell you is that the causes of action is very clear. If you look at paragraph 16, you will find it clearly states what the cause of action is. The plaintiff brings this suit for breaches of their constitutional and or statutory rights and or common law rights. The unlawful abduction of Pastor Koh, failure to account or disclose Pastor Koh's whereabouts, misfeasance of public office, conspiracy to injure, and negligence. The case is now fixed for case management and will be set down for trial soon. The family is praying, as I'm sure you all are, that they will finally know that they will, and their father and husband will be returned to them, and those responsible will be brought to justice. There will be some closure at last. That is their hope and their prayer. Thank you for listening.